O He Vaishnava Thakura Dayara Sagura Edasi Koruna Kori. Karuna Kori Diya Padachaya Shudh He Amaya Tumara Charana Dori.
Diya Padachaya Shudh He Amaya Tumara Charana Dori.
Chaya Vega Domi Chaya Dosha Shodhi Chaya Guna Deho Dase.
Chaya Vega Domi Chaya Dosha Shodhi Chaya Guna Deho Dase.
Chaya Satsanga Deho He Amare Bosechi Sangera Ashi.
Jaya Satsanga Deho He Amare Bosechi Sangera Se.
Ekaki Amara Nahi Paya Bala Harinama Sankirtane.
Ekaki Amara Nahi Paya Bala Harinama Sankirtane.
Tumi Kripa Kori Shadabindu Diya Deho Krishna Namadhane.
Tumi Kripa Kori Shadabindu Diya Deho Krishna Namadhane.
Krishna se tomara Krishna dite paro tomara shakati ache.
Krishna se tomara Krishna dite paro tomara shakati ache.
Amito Kanga Krishna Krishna Boli Daivata Pachi Pachi.
Amito Kanga Krishna Krishna Boli Daitava Pache Pache.
O He Vaishnava Thakura Dayara Sagura Edasi Karuna Kori.
O He Vaishnava Thakura Dayara Sagara Edase Karuna Kori.
Jaya Vaishnav Thakur, Vaishnav Thakur, Vaishnav Thakur, Jaya Vaishnav Thakur.
Jaya Vaishnav Thakur, Jaya Vaishnav Thakur, Jaya Vaishnav Thakur, Jaya Vaishnav Thakur.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Someone give me the beat to start. Duragnara Deham Vilasita Nirava Tiba Videham
Ujjvala Varana Gauravara Deham Vilasita Niravadi Bhavavideham
Tribhuvana Pavana Kripayalesham Tam Pranamami Cha Shishachitanayam
Tribhuvana Pavana Kripayalesham Tam Pranamami Cha Shishachitanayam
Tadgada Antara Bhavavikaram Durjana Tarjana Nada Vishalam
Gadantara Bhavavikaram Durjana Tarjana Nada Vishalam
Bhavabhaya Banjana Karana Karunam Tam Pranamami Cha Shishachitanayam
Bhavabhaya Banjana Karana Karunam Tam Pranamami Cha Shri Sachitanayam
Arunambaradara Charuka Polam Indu Vinindata Nakachaya Ruchiram
Arunam Baradara Charuka Polam Indu Vinindita Nakachaya Ruchiram
Jalbitani Jaguna Namavinodam Pram Pranamami Cha Shishachitanayam
Jalpita Nijaguna Nama Vinodam Tam Pranamami Cha Shri Sachitanayam
Vigaliti Nayana Kamala Jaladaram Bhushanana Varasa Bhava Vikaram
Vigalita Nayana Kamala Jaladaram Bhushanana Varasa Bhava Vikaram
Yati Yati Mantara Nirtya Vilasam Tam Pranamami Cha Shishachitanayam
Yati Yati Mantara Nirtya Vilasam Tam Pranamami Cha Shri Sachitanayam
Chanchala Charu Charana Gati Ruchiram Manjira Ranjita Pada Yuga Madhuram
Chanchala Charana Gati Ruchiram Manjira Ranjita Padayuga Madhuram
Chandra Vinindita Shitala Valanam Tam Pranamami Cha Shishachitanayam
Chandra Vinindita Shitala Vadanam Tam Pranamami Cha Shri Sachitanayam
Rita Kati Dora Kamandalu Nandam Divya Kalevara Mundita Mundam
Brita Kati Dora Kamandalu Dandam Divya Kalevara Mundita Mundam
Durjana Kalmasha Kandana Dandam Tam Pranamami Cha Shishachitanayam
Durjana Kalmasha Kandana Dandam Tam Pranamami Cha Shri Sachitanayam
Rita Kati Dora Kamandalu Dandam Divakele Vara Mundita Mundam
Rita Kati Dora Kamandalu Dandam Divya Kalevara Mundita Mundam
Durmatna Kalmasha Kandana Dandam Tam Pranamami Cha Shishachitanayam
Durjana Kalmasha Kandana Dandam Tam Pranamami Cha Shri Sachitanayam
Bhushana Bhuraja Alaka Valitam Kampita Bimbadara Vara Ruchiram
Bhushana Bhuraja Lakavalitam Kampita bimbadara ruchiram
Malayaja virajita ujvala tilakam tam pranamami cha shri chachitanayam.
Malayaja virajita ujvala tilakam tam pranamami cha shri chachitanayam.
Ninditarunakamaladala nayanam ajanulam vitra shri bhuja yugalam.
Ninditarunakamaladala nayanam ajanulam vitra shri bhuja yugalam.
Kalevara keshora nartaka vesham tam pranamami cha shri chachitanayam.
Kalevara keshora nartaka vesham tam pranamami cha shri sachitanayam.
Ujjvala guravara deham vilasitani ravadi bhava videham.
Ujjvala varana gauravara deham vilasita niravadi bhava videham.
Tribhuvana pavana kripaya lesham tam pranamami cha shri sachitanayam.
Tribhuvana pavana kripaya lesham tam pranamami cha shri sachitanayam.
Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Gaura Hari.
Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Gaura Hari.
Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Gaura Hari.
Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Gaura Hari.
Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Gaura Hari.
Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Gaura Hari.
Vibhavari sesha loka pravesha nidrachari yuto jiva.
Vibhavari sesha loka pravesha nidrachari yuto jiva.
Bolo Hari Hari Mukunda Murari Rama Krishna Hayagriva.
Bolo Hari
ब्रजेर राखाल गोपवृन्दापाल चित्तहरि बंशीधारी योगीन्द्र बंदन श्रीनंदनंदन ब्रज जन भयहारी नवीन नीरादा रूप मनोहर मोहन बंसी बिहारी नंदन कंसनी सूदन निकुंज रास विलासी कदंब कानन रासपरायण वृंदा विपिन निवासी आनंदवर्धन प्रेम निकेतन फूल सरजोक काम गोपांगन चित्त विनोदन समस्त गुण गण धाम जमुना जीवन केली परायण मानस चंद्र चकोरा नाम सुधारस गाओ कृष्णा जश राखो वचन मन मोरा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम हरे राम राम हरे राम राम हरे राम हरे हरे जय श्री राधा मदन मोहन की जय।
sing one more song. And then we can. Yeah. Oh, yes, probably. Thank you. I mean, either one is good. This one's okay. Yeah, I know. Thank you. So we'll just sing this song. And then what we can do is we can also we'll sing the song and then we'll do chant. This is the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And then we'll start the Bhagavatam class. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Kara More Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Kara More Toma vina ke doyalu jagat samsare patita pavana hetu Kavavatara Mosamapatita Prabhu Napedeyara Aha Prabhu Nityananda Premananda Sukhi Kripavalo Kanakoro Ami Bora Duki Goya Karo Sitapati Advaita Gosai Goya Karo Tava Kripa Bale Pai Chaitanya Nitai Aha Swarup Sanatana Rupa Raghunatha सप्तजुगा श्रीजीवा प्रभु लोकनाथा दया करो प्रियाचार्य प्रभु श्रीनिवास रामचंद्र संगमंगे नरोत्तम दासा श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु दया करो मोरे तोमा विना के दयालो जगत संसारे श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु दया करो मोरे श्री तोमा बिना के दयालो जगत संसारे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Thank you. So we will read chant, which is the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita for this month, and then we will start with Jaya Radha Madhava and the Bhagavatam class. So let's do chapter 7. It's a very beautiful chapter. Chapter 7 of the Bhagavad Gita. It's basically, comes in the section of Bhakti Yoga. Yeah, knowledge of the Absolute. The middle 6 chapters talk about the process of Bhakti Yoga. The first 6 chapters talk about Karma Yoga. And then the last 6 chapters talk about Jnana Yoga. So the Bhakti is, protected between Karma and Jnana. So knowledge of the Absolute. Atha Saptamo Dhyayaha, we can recite it together. Is it okay if we do it in Sanskrit? Okay. Is it okay? We can do it together. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Maya Saktamana Partha Yogam Yunjan Madashrayaha Asamshayam Samagrama Yata Ghyasa Shrunu Jnanam Teham Savijnanam Idam Vakshyami Asheshataha Yagyatva Neha Bhuyonya Gyatva Vavshashishyate Manushyanam Sahasrestu Kashyad Yatati Siddhaye Yatatamapi Siddhanam Kashyan Mam Veti Tatvataha Bhumirapo Analo Vayu Kammano Buddhirevacha Ahankara iti yamme Prakriti Ashtada Apareyam itastwanyam Prakritim Vidhi me param Jiva Bhutam Mahabaho Yedham Dharyate Jagad Yetad Yonini Bhutani Sarvaniti Upadharaya Aham Krishnasya Jagataha Prabhava Pralayastata Matta Partaram Nanyad Kinchid Asti Dhananjaya Mai Sarvam Idam Protam Shutre Manigana Iva Rasoham Apshu Kaunteya Prabhasmi Sashishurayo Pranava Sarva Vedeshu Shabde Khe Paurusham Nrshu Punyo Gandham Prativyamcha Tejas Chasmi Vibhavasau Jivanam Sarva Bhuteshu Tapaschasmi Tapasvishu Bhijam Mam Sarva Bhutanam Vidhi Partha Sanatanam Buddhir Buddhimatam Asmi Tejas Tejasvinamaham Bhalam Bhalavatam Chaham Kamaraga Vivarjitam Dharma Viruddho Bhuteshu कामोऽस्मि भरतर्षभा ये चैव सात्विका भावा राजसस्तामसश्च ये मत्त एवेति तन्विद्धि त्वं ते मयि त्रिभिर्गुणभैर्भावैर्येभिः सर्वम् इदं जगत् मोहितं नाभिजानाति माम् एभ्य परमव्ययम् दैवी एषा गुणमयी मम माया दुरत्यया मामेव ये प्रपद्यन्ते मायामेतां तरन्ति ते न मां दुष्कृतिनो मूढा प्रपद्यन्ते नराधमा माया प्रहृतज्ञाना आशुरं भावमाश्रितः चतुर्विधा भजन्ते मां जना सुकृतिनो अर्जुन अर्थो जिज्ञासुरर्थार्थी ज्ञानी च भरतर्षभा तेषां ज्ञानी नित्ययुक्ता एकभक्तिर्विशिष्यते प्रियो हि ज्ञानिनो अत्यर्थम् अहं च मम प्रियः उदर सर्व एवैते ज्ञानी त्वात्मवे मे मतम् आस्थितः सः युक्तात्मा मामेवानुत्तमं गतिम् बहुनां जन्मनामन्ते ज्ञानवान् मां प्रपद्यते वासुदेवं सर्वमिति स महात्मा कामैस्तैस्तैर्हृतज्ञाना प्रपद्यन्ते अन्यदेवता तं नियमम् आस्ताय प्रकृत्या नियतः स्वया यो यं यं तनुं भक्ता श्रद्धयाच्युतमिच्छति तस्याचलं श्रद्धां ताम् एव विदिदाम्यहं स तया श्रद्धया युक्तास्तस्याराधनं हीहते लभते च ततः कामान् मयैव विहितान् हितान् तेषां तद् देवान् देवयजो यान्ति मद्भक्ता यान्ति मामपि अव्यक्तं व्यक्तिमापन्नं मन्यन्ते माम् अबुद्धया परं भावमजानन्तो मम व्ययमनुत्तमं नाहं प्रकाश सर्वस्य योगमाया समावृतः मूढोऽयं नाभिजानाति लोको मामजमव्ययं वेदाहं समतीतानि वर्तमानानि च अर्जुन भविष्यानि च भूतानि मां तु वेद न कश्चन इच्छाद्वेषसमुत्थेन द्वन्द्वमोहेन भारत सर्वभूतानि सम्मोहं सर्गे यान्ति परन्तप येषामन्तगतं पापं जनानां पुण्यकर्मणः ते द्वन्द्वमोहनिर्मुक्ता भजन्ते मां धृतावृतः जरामरणमोक्षाय मामाश्रित्य यतान्ति ते ब्रह्म तद्विदु कृष्णम् अध्यात्मं कर्म चाखिलं शादिभूतादिदैवं मां शादियज्ञं च ये विदु प्रयाणकाले च ते विदुर्युक्तचेतसः ॐ तत्सत् इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे विज्ञान सप्तमोऽध्यायः. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So we'll just start with Jai Radha Madhava. Before the Bhagavatam class, Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Jaya Brajajana Ranjana Jaya Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Yamuna Tira Vachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Yamuna Tira Vachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Madan Mohan Radhe, Jaya Radha Madan Mohan Radha, Madan Mohan Radhe, Radhe Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe, Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha Narahari, Lakshmi Narasimha Narahari. Jaya Mahaprabhu, Jaya Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu, Jaya Mahaprabhu. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Gurudev, Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Nitya Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol Nitya Gaura Hari Bol, Nitya Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. So we'll start with the Mangalacharan. The Mangalacharan prayers. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Nilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dhinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Be'evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavarind. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye. Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So today we will discuss from Canto 1, Chapter 15, which is basically titled as The Pandavas Retire Timely. The reason I chose this particular section for today's discussion is because, of course, it's it's a little sad part of the story, but there is a very wonderful lessons here that we can learn, where Arjuna is actually remembering all the wonderful activities of Krishna. He's remembering how Krishna has, of course, the context, I will just give you the context. So chapter 14, Arjuna has actually gone to, chapter 14 is titled as Disappearance of Lord Krishna. So as the sun, Prabhupada explains, as the sun sets and rises, rises and sets, so similarly Krishna's appearance is also equivalent to that. It's not like the appearance and it's not like the conditioned souls, where we are forced by time, by kala, to actually take one birth after another. So Krishna's appearance is very different, because Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His appearance and disappearance are in a different category altogether. And Prabhupada compares it to the sun rising and setting. So sun setting doesn't mean that sun has, of course it has gone away from our eyesight, that doesn't mean that sun has died, but it is just rising in some other place. So Krishna's appearance and disappearance is also like that. So chapter 14 discusses the disappearance of Lord Krishna, and then how the whole Dwarka becomes inundated with flood and so on and so forth, and Arjuna is actually sent. Arjuna goes there to basically make sure that the rest of the Dwarka Vasis are safely taken, or they're taken back to Hastinapur. And of course, as the pastime goes on, Arjuna gets defeated by a band of, some bandits, some thieves actually. And he's there to protect, some of the remaining members of the Yadu dynasty, like the queens and all the family members. But then he gets defeated by a group of robbers or thieves. And then Arjuna is very astonished that how could this happen? He's a person who is actually, he wields the Gandiva bow, and he's, even astonished the demigods, including, Indra and Lord Shiva, and he was undefeated. But then how could he actually be defeated by a group of thieves or robbers? Of course, the acharyas explain that actually it's Krishna, who comes as these group of common people, and then but then basically Krishna wanted to take the rest of the Dwarka Vasis, so he comes, he and his cowherd boys come, and then they defeat Arjuna, and then they take the rest of the Dwarka Vasis back to the spiritual realm. And so Arjuna is very, very morose, after this whole pastime. First of all, Krishna basically departing this world. So Arjuna is very, very morose, and then he has lost his bodily luster. Then he is coming there to Hastinapur, and then he's, he looks so disoriented. He basically loses all his body luster, and he looks very drained of all energy. And then Yudhishthira Maharaj is asking all these different questions. did somebody, insult you? Did you not, protect, did you disrespect a worthy woman of, who's worthy of respect? So Yudhishthira Maharaj is asking all these different questions, and finally Yudhishthira Maharaj asks the question, because he's trying to find the reason why are you looking so lost or feeling empty. So the last text of 14, so Yudhishthira Maharaj asks him, are you feeling empty? Because you might have lost your most intimate friend, Lord Krishna. Oh my brother Arjuna, I can think of no other reason for you to becoming so dejected. Of course, Arjuna is feeling dejected, but then he's, there is one more time Arjuna felt dejected. When was that? Yeah, the beginning of the battle in Kurukshetra, Arjuna was feeling so dejected. And then the way he overcame those dejection was actually hearing the instructions of Krishna from the Bhagavad Gita. So very similarly here also, Arjuna will now overcome the dejection, but through another way. So Arjuna will overcome this dejection by remembering about Krishna, by remembering about Krishna's grace. In fact, this is something that is very practical in our own lives. We have to. It's a very instructive in the sense that we can apply this on a daily basis of how actually Krishna's mercy is there in our lives, how Krishna's mercy sustains our lives and especially our devotional life. And in fact, I was thinking what is a practical application of this particular topic? Practical application that Arjuna is showing is that Arjuna is remembering all the wonderful things that Krishna did for the Pandavas, for him and the Pandavas. And he was just remembering and filled with gratitude. He was filled with gratitude and love and affection for the Lord, remembering, how the Lord actually was there, at all the different times. They were going through so many setbacks, they were going through so many reversals, so many dangers, and then the Lord was there at every moment with them, trying to protect them, trying to take care of them. And this is what Narada Muni says. Narada Muni, says in the 7th canto of Bhagavatam, he's telling Prahlad Maharaj's story to Yudhishthira Maharaj. And then he said, he told the whole story, how Narsinghadev appeared just to protect Prahlad Maharaj. And the whole incarnation, the purpose of the incarnation was, of course, to kill Hiranyakashipu, but more than that, to protect Prahlad Maharaj, as Krishna says, why he appears, right? Paritrana Shadunam, that's the first thing he says, to deliver my devotees. Because that's affection, that he shows to his devotees. And then Yudhishthira Maharaj thinks, oh, how fortunate is Prahlad Maharaj. The Lord appears, just to protect him. And then, how such a wonderful, he's thinking about this in his mind. So fortunate Prahlad Maharaj is. And then Narada Muni immediately replies, he says, yes, Prahlad Maharaj is fortunate, but you are more fortunate. Yudhishthira Maharaj, the Pandavas are so fortunate because the Lord actually act as their friend, their guide, and one among the family members. And then he was there at all different times, both in happiness and distress. He was there for them. And so now Arjuna is actually remembering all the kindness, the affection that Krishna displayed toward the Pandavas and also him. So Arjuna is remembering all those affectionate moments, all those and all the moments that Krishna bestowed his mercy upon them. And by remembering that, he became in contact with Krishna. So that's Smaranam, right? So this is remembering about Krishna, how Krishna's all the different pastimes of Krishna, and how, Arjuna is remembering how he personally felt the mercy of Krishna. So we can also, take some lesson from this. And we can also understand how Krishna has bestowed his mercy upon us. Right? We can also take moment, at least, every day few moments to just think about, okay, Krishna, how have you? And many times we don't even know how Krishna has, given his mercy to us. In fact, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, during his Mahaprakash Leela, he actually reveals to many devotees how he was there in their most trying circumstances. Some of the devotees. He was actually mentioning that. So, many times we don't even realize that Krishna is actually protecting us. Krishna is there with us. Krishna is actually taking care of us. Many times we are not even aware that how Krishna is protecting us, taking care of us. So in the Mahaprakash Leela, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells this to Haridas Thakur. So Haridas Thakur, such an advanced devotee, he is actually told, you should not chant this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And then Haridas Thakur refuses. He says, even if you cut me to 100 pieces, I'll still continue chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So they were extremely, the Muslim rulers, they were very, very, angry with this particular statement. So they actually take him to so many, 22 marketplaces and actually whip him. And of course, Haridas Thakur, this is the mood of a devotee. It's amazing, He is actually, not, what will we do if we are in such a stressful condition? What would we do? What is our natural reaction? Anyone? Oh, blame everybody. Yeah, that's one reaction. Yes. And maybe went about how such an injustice is being met out to me. That's maybe one. Or fight back. Blames one's own karma. Yeah. Devotees. Devotees who are a little bit more advanced and mature, maybe they will pray to the Lord for protection. You know what Haridas Thakur was doing? Yeah, he was praying for the people who were beating him. So that was his compassionate heart. It's unbelievable. How advanced these devotees are, and it's unfathomable how they have this kind of a mindset. It's really, of course, we cannot imitate this. But Haridas Thakur was not even praying for himself. He probably thought, applying the principle of Trinada Pisunichena, Tarora Pisahishnana, Amanina Manadena, Kirtane Sadahari, he was probably thinking, I deserve much worse. Prabhupada writes in one of the purports that whenever a devotee faces reversals, or setbacks, then the devotee thinks that actually Krishna has, been very kind. Again, going back to that verse, Tatteno Kampam, Susamikshamano. The Lord Brahma prays that, but it's such a difficult mindset to cultivate. But it's something that we aspire to cultivate. That we have faith in the Lord, that Krishna, yes, you are. Of course, that's one of the signs of Sharanagati is that, how does that word start from Hari Bhakti Vilas? Anukulesha Sankalpa, Pratikulesha Varjanam, Rakshashayate Vishwasho, Goptartve Varanam Tata, Atmanikshepa Karpanya, Shadvida Sharanagati. So, Krishna is protecting me. And so a devotee thinks, Prabhupada writes that devotee thinks, Krishna has been very kind. He only gave me a little bit, a fraction of what I have to go through. And so the devotee is in that state of mind, in that mindset. In fact, how do you tolerate something that's unchangeable, right? Of course, one extreme is being a doormat. Of course, nobody is, nobody is suggesting that we have to be a doormat. We have to do within our means to try to do the needful. Like, for example, there is a problem or there are some issues, then we have to do what is necessary. We have to do what is needful. But many times, even in spite of our efforts, things don't change. At that time, what do you do? So Krishna, at least, if you are not able to be at the level of Haridas Thakur where he prays for the people who are beating him, at least we can start at the level of where Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Tam Titikshvasya Bharata. How does that word start? Matra Sparshashtu Kaunteya Sitoshna Sukha Dukkada Agama Payino Nityas Tam Titikshvasya Bharata. At least we can begin with tolerance. If not, prayer, we can begin with tolerance. And that is the first step. The first step is sometimes things are beyond our control. Many times things are beyond our control. Many of the problems that we face in our lives are probably not solvable. There's no solution to such problems. Some problems have solutions, but many problems, may not have solutions. So what do? You start with tolerance. And one of the steps of tolerance is acceptance. You accept, okay, this is, I've tried I've looked at the different options. I tried to solve this problem, but things are beyond my control. So that's where you start to accept. So how do you tolerate the unchangeable is by acceptance. But Haridas Thakur is here showing he goes beyond that, many levels beyond that. Right? He goes many levels beyond that, and he is praying for for the people who are abusing him or who are and Mahaprabhu is telling this, and Mahaprabhu says, Haridas Thakur, do you know how you are so unaffected? I mean, you didn't feel any pain from these beatings. And Mahaprabhu says that's because I was actually taking all the beatings for you. I was taking all the lashes for you. Because you are praying that to protect these, I was going to punish all of them. I was going to punish all these, people who are harassing you, but I was not able to punish them because you are praying for them. So I was not able to punish them. Now how can I protect you? So I personally came and I embraced you and took all the lashes for you. So Mahaprabhu is actually revealing this. So such mercy of Krishna. And same thing Mahaprabhu talks about one devotee whose name I'm forgetting actually. But he was a grahastha. And the devotee actually, is a very dangerous situation where actually the Muslim rulers or the Muslim soldiers are coming, and then they are basically, murdering, and they are doing horrible things to all the people as they are actually, coming into the town, and the devotee and his family basically run from there, and they are, praying to Krishna, Krishna, please protect us from this danger. And then Mahaprabhu reminds them, do you remember that moment when you are really frightened? What would happen to me? What would happen to my family? Oh Krishna, please protect us. These, unruly, people are coming, and then they are doing such horrible things. Please protect us. Please save us from this danger. So Mahaprabhu is asking him, do you remember that? And at that time, they were actually running towards the river. And at that time, so Mahaprabhu is telling him, at that time, I say, suddenly out of nowhere, a boatman appears with a boat. And then he comes and he actually, immediately comes and then rescues, these devotees and then takes them across to safety. So Mahaprabhu then says, do you remember all those, that moment? And then he says that I actually came as that boatman. So Krishna reciprocates with such. So the reason I just told all those pastimes is many times we are not even aware how Krishna is protecting us. And even for that, we need to pray. That's what Krishna consciousness means. Krishna consciousness means to be conscious of Krishna, and that's a very elevated platform. And to be in that mood of gratitude and appreciation, and that gratitude and appreciation over a period of time, it transforms to affection and love. When you're able to see the hand of Krishna, how he is actually taking care of us, how is he actually sustaining us, how is actually protecting us. So, and as we pray, then Krishna also will reveal to us, give us the realization how he is actually taking care of us. And we can also make our own little effort every day to sit for a few minutes and then just see how has Krishna filled our lives with gifts. How has Krishna filled our lives with his mercy? Even though some days look very bad, some days look better than other days, but still, as a practice, we can try to see how Krishna has actually given his mercy to us in our lives. Can some of you think of some ways, how Krishna has filled, our lives with his mercy? Some practical things you can think about. You can speak on the mic, Mataji, because I think there are also.
I was just thinking about putting those who are spiritually interested in a community setting. Like, what are the chances in the current world situation? Like, there is a space for us to come together and read scriptures globally all over the world.
Right.
I think that's pretty much a miracle.
Yeah, that is bringing in the association of devotees. Bringing in the association of devotees. It's such a rare thing, right? Of course, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, as is giving these instructions to Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami, he is talking about how rare it is to find even a human life. And even more rare is actually coming in contact with the association of devotees. And, such a rare thing, actually, such a rare thing. It's certain, it is actually a manifestation of Krishna's mercy that we come in contact with Krishna through his devotees. In fact, when Ajamila, it's so amazing actually, this the pastime of Ajamila. Of course, Ajamila, there's a lot of background to that story, right? I mean, people generally, if they don't reach Srila Prabhupada's purports, or if they don't talk about it in the association of devotees, they can misunderstand that story, very superficially understand about that story. They people may think, he had the best of both worlds. That's a very incorrect understanding of that story. He enjoyed his life and he attained, the ultimate destination also. But that's not true. He actually suffered. He was miserable actually. He was miserable going through such a sinful life. But he had so much of, from the backstory, he had so much of, his piety and his, agyata sukriti. Yes, Prabhu.
Also, I want to point out that he didn't go back. He didn't go to Godhead direct. I mean, immediately. Right. Afterwards, he still had to go through his sadhana.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. He still, he went to Haridwar and he perfected his life. Yeah. It's a very, it's a very deep story. And because of those previous, devotional activities and pious activities, he was able to keep, due to some good fortune, he was able to keep his last son's name as Narayana. And due to that good fortune, he recited the name of the Lord helplessly at the time of death, and which was offenseless chanting. So it's very important to understand. He just it was offenseless chanting. It was not Shuddha Nam, but it was not Namaparad also. It was Namabhash. And look at the potency of just the Namabhash chanting. What is the immediate effect of the chanting? Vaishnudutas, association with devotees. The Vishnudutas appeared. The association of devotees. So how does Krishna bring the good fortune into our lives? Krishna brings the good fortune into our lives, the association of devotees, or association of, the books of devotees, like Srila Prabhupada's books. That is association of Prabhupada, actually, Srila Prabhupada directly. His instructions are not different from him. So that's how Krishna brings good fortune into our lives. So Mataji said, how Krishna actually brings that good fortune into our lives. How Krishna bestows his mercy is through his association of devotees. Yes, Ramananda Prabhu.
I just want to make one more point that Ajamil named his son as Narayan, and that was also not random or accidental. That was also that also happened due to the mercy of the Lord. That He inspired him within the heart to put his name, to give that name.
Correct. And due to his previous, activities, pious activities and activities in devotional service. Yeah. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for that point. Any other, points about how Krishna bestows us?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, recently I have been reading the 2nd and 3rd cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, actually the entire material manifestation, earth, water, fire, air, and the bodies that are given, so that is actually the mercy of the Lord. So I was trying to recollect when the elements personified, there were prayers offered by elements personified, the demigods. So they were not able to mix with each other. So Lord has to enter and mix and then form different shapes. Basically, he has to help the Brahmaji in the secondary creation to form the different bodies. So that itself is a mercy of the Lord. Of course, it's an expression of his love, even though he doesn't want us to suffer here.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, the material world is, is to rectify the rebellious nature of the conditioned souls. It's a manifestation of his mercy. So that we can take this opportunity and then rectify our, independent or rebellious nature towards the Lord, so that we can become qualified to go back home, back to Godhead. Yes, Kautukarana Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I was thinking of prasadam.
That's so true.
So, the tongue is always ready to, enjoy so many different tastes and flavors, and it's the most difficult sense to control.
Yeah.
Because of the taste, so many people suffer miserably because they cannot control the tendency to eat things which we are not supposed to. So it can drag us to the lowest species. But Krishna provides alternative prasadam, not only just plant-based food, but prasadam.
Yeah.
So, which is very easy for anybody to appreciate, but just by honoring prasadam, we can elevate our consciousness. Even if we are not able to chant Hare Krishna in the beginning, we can just honor prasadam.
Beautiful. Such a nice point. Yeah, it's such an important, it's prasadam. I mean, we all need, food to survive, but Krishna is so kind. He has given us, as the Bhagavad Gita verse says, prasade sarva dukkanam anirashyo pajayate prasanna chetaso hi ashu buddhir pariyavatishtutade. And of course, Mahaprabhu says, jada buddhi parihari. Oh my God. Like, it removes, our dull, jada buddhi, it's like dull intelligence, that's, says in the Bhagavad Gita verse, prasade sarva dukkhanam hanir ashopajayate, it removes all the miseries. And then prasanna chetaso, one becomes satisfied in consciousness. Buddhir paryavatishate, then the intelligence is well established. So when we take the prasadam, jada buddhi parihari, it's really, it cleanses the mind and intelligence of all the, ignorance, and then the intelligence is soon well established, and it makes one happy, right? So prasad is so important. Actually, it's so important. Otherwise, as Prabhu was saying, you have to, eat something, and then how it will affect our consciousness and what all, it just anything other than prasadam will just make us miserable, right? And the most ferocious senses is actually the tongue. Once you control the tongue, then all the other senses, and included the mind, also becomes controlled. So Krishna is so kind to actually give us this mercy to prasada. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. Yes.
I think for me, the best part is having an ISKCON temple close by, because as remembering your friends who has to 20-30 years back for Indian grocery, they need rice and dal, they have to drive 3.5 hours. And this is and now, from Prabhupada's all these efforts and everything, we are just receiving or enjoying the blessings of Krishna and the mediator of that. And then what I did, anything special? Nothing. I'm just living so close. I can walk to the temple. And we have Vaisheshika Prabhu here. When he's there, the kirtans are super roaring here. And there's nothing like that out in the world. And if we did not have a temple here, it will be very difficult to have such a association. This is a different level of enjoyment instead of just watching TV.
Yeah, very nice, Prabhu.
It's grace of God. Yes.
Very nice, thank you. Yeah, the temple is such an amazing gift. Of course, Ramanand Saka Prabhu can attest to that. He doesn't want to leave. The temple, it's such a mercy of Krishna. We are, so many of us are able to have this access to this temple. We stay close by to the temple. It's such a divine blessings, right? Of course, the temple is, it's non-different. It's equivalent to, the temples, you can consider them like a embassy of the spiritual realm. It's not different than the dham. Because when the deities are worshipped properly, then Krishna is there. And then Krishna is bestowing his mercy. So you can, I don't know if you had this difference, when you go from Vrindavan Dham, as you get closer to Delhi, you can see the difference, from spiritual realm into coming into the material realm. So similarly, you can know, you just enter the door here, it's very different. It's a different atmosphere, but you just exit and then you stay outside for some time, and then you can you can see the material energy acting on us. So yeah, it's such a gift. And Krishna's mercy, Krishna has given us this mercy, and association of very advanced devotees also. I have heard, more recently I've heard so many devotees, some of the devotees are visiting, like Shubha Vilas Prabhu is visiting, he will be giving the class tomorrow. And then Achyuta Mohan Prabhu, he just visited, 1 week ago. They are all they see when, sometimes when we are in the, in the thick of things, we may not understand, the value of it, or we may not understand, how fortunate we are in the Sangha and strong community. But people from the outside, they appreciate this community so much. In fact, if there is an option for people, to come to the US, they recommend, ISV as number one. Of course, there are many other wonderful temples as well, but ISV is one of the well-known communities, and it's so, because of association of so many advanced Vaishnavas here. It's not ordinary. It's Krishna's mercy. So anyway, thank you, for so many points, how Krishna's mercy has filled our lives. And then, of course, we can go even deeper and see how Krishna's mercy is filling our lives personally as well. And if we pray for it, and Krishna will let us know, how His mercy is actually manifesting in our lives. Apart from all these different points as well. Anyway, so let's go to the chapter, chapter 15, which is the Pandavas. So Arjuna, you can see the same thing. Arjuna is now recollecting all the ways actually Krishna has bestowed the mercy on him. So we'll read some translations and some purports from this section. We may not be able to complete every verse in this section, but we'll connect some. So Canto 1, chapter 15. Text 1. Somebody want to, we can take turns and read some translations and purport, and then we can. But the translation of text 1.
Sutta Goswami said, Arjuna, the celebrated friend of Lord Krishna, was grief-stricken because of his strong feeling of separation from Krishna, over and above all Maharaj Yudhishthira's speculative inquiries.
I can go to the next verse. So, as I said in the background, Yudhishthira Maharaj is actually asking, why Arjuna was feeling so grief-stricken. So now Arjuna will give us a response. Text 2.
Due to grief, Arjuna's mouth and lotus-like heart had dried up. Therefore his body lost all luster. Now, remembering the Supreme Lord, he could hardly utter a word in reply.
Text 3.
With great difficulty, he checked the tears of grief that smeared his eyes. He was very distressed because Lord Krishna was out of his sight, and he increasingly felt affection for him.
Remembering Lord Krishna and his well-wishes, benefactions, intimate familial relations, and his chariot driving, Arjuna, overwhelmed and breathing very heavily, began to speak.
Let's read the purport of text 4. It's a nice purport. Can you go into the text, Mataji? Text 4. So Arjuna is now remembering. He's beginning to, let's read the purport. It's a very short purport, but it's a nice.
Sure. The Supreme Living Being is perfect in all relations with his pure devotee. Sri Arjuna is one of the typical pure devotees of the Lord, reciprocating in the fraternal relationship, and the Lord's dealings with Arjuna are displays of friendship of the highest perfect order. He was not only a well-wisher of Arjuna, but actually a benefactor, and to make it still more perfect, the Lord tied him into a family relationship by arranging Subhadra's marriage with him. And above all, the Lord agreed to become a chariot driver of Arjuna in order to protect his friend from warfare risks, and the Lord became actually happy when he established the Pandavas to rule over the world. Arjuna remembered all these one after another, and thus he became overwhelmed with such thoughts.
You can see such a nice purport. Maybe, just be there, Mataji, for a few minutes. You can see how Krishna, nobody can reciprocate with us as perfectly as Krishna does. And look at how amazing Krishna's reciprocation with Arjuna, Of course, Prabhupada talks about it in relation to his pure devotees, but, how beautiful Krishna's reciprocation with Arjuna. And, he took care, regarding, Prabhupada talks about here how he actually made a family tie-up with, the Pandavas, especially giving Subhadra in marriage to Arjuna. And Krishna, when Arjuna visited Dwarka, he became attracted to Subhadra. Of course, Subhadra also was attracted towards Arjuna. And Arjuna could understand all these different desires. And then Arjuna and Krishna was very, he kindly made arrangements. In fact, Balaram wanted to actually marry Subhadra to Duryodhana. But Krishna very expertly managed the whole situation so that he can actually given marriage of Subhadra to Arjuna. So Krishna is, he reciprocates so perfectly, to his devotees. So much so that actually Arjuna becomes the chariot driver of Arjuna. It's not a great position. Right? Of course, in this part of the world, people are little respectful. But if you go to India, who respects who respects a driver? Nobody respects a driver. It's not a very highly it's not a very respectable position. But Krishna took that because of his love, deep love and affection for his devotee. And not only that, so many, of course, Arjuna will now tell so many incidents where actually Krishna personally goes and protects the Pandavas. And you can see Krishna is so merciful. In the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, you can see, of course, this is the Damodar month. We are celebrating it by reciting the Damodar Ashtakam every day. And who, better glorifies? Of course, Radharani is the epitome of devotional service to Krishna. And then the Vatsalya Rasa, the topmost figure is Mother Yashoda, the Vatsalya Rasa. She is the embodiment of love in Vatsalya Rasa. And, we glorify, Krishna being bound, throughout this month. And why do we glorify it? Because Krishna is bound. Of course, a person is bound in this world, that's not a very glorious position. It's a very, it's a very infamous, position, actually. A person being bound or being tied, like how Bali Maharaj got bound, by Krishna. Of course, that is also glorious. But generally, when we are helpless in this world, people don't. Of course, that's what the whole world is, running towards, is how to actually hide our failures and to project our wins. Right? Nobody likes to show them as being helpless. But Krishna is helpless. That's when we are celebrating and glorifying that. And why we are glorifying that? Because he got bound by the love and affection of Mother Yashoda. He got defeated by the love and affection of Mother Yashoda. So Krishna reciprocates so perfect. Krishna's reciprocation is so perfect. And how does Krishna reciprocate? And think about, Kubja. What reciprocation is. Of course, there's a background story to that, but if you really look at that story, it's not only Kubja. Of course, Krishna reciprocates in kind with the washerman also. When Kamsa's washerman, he says, Krishna asks him, give me some clothes, I want to wear it. And there was an opportunity to serve Krishna, but the foolish guy, he said, no, I cannot give you, you don't know who Kamsa is. And he started, chastising Krishna. And Krishna got so angry, and then he just took his hand and touched his neck, and then the head rolled off. Of course, that is also Krishna's mercy. Chastisement is also Krishna's mercy. But then think about the florist, Sudama. Think about Kubja. What is she was a hunchbacked woman, and of course, the Acharyas explain, there is much more background detail to that. But from one angle, she was just a hunchbacked woman. All this she did was just take some sandalwood, and Krishna said, give me some sandalwood. She just took some sandalwood and applied, and look at the reciprocation of Krishna. Look at the reciprocation of Krishna. Of course, the verse that Uddhava recites in the 3rd canto of Bhagavatam, Aho Bakiyam Sanakalakutam Jigam Siyad. Yes. Lebe Gatim Achitam Uchitam Talokam Kimva Dayalum Sharanam Rajema. So how merciful is Krishna? Putana came with the intention to kill Krishna. But Krishna, he overlooked all the faults, and he looked, that she wanted to actually nurse me as a mother. So he actually delivered her, and gave her a position in the spiritual world. So how merciful is Krishna? So Krishna perfectly reciprocates. And Sudama the florist, with just simple acts of service, Krishna, just gives himself to them. That's why he says, to the gopis, I just cannot repay to your love. Krishna gives himself to, such simple acts of service, how can Krishna reciprocate to the gopis? Love, right? So that's why Krishna says to the gopis, I'm very sorry. I cannot, I am in debt. I cannot repay, the love that you have for me. You just have to be satisfied with your own devotion. I really cannot repay you. But Krishna is so kind. He reciprocates, we just do a little bit of service, Krishna reciprocates with, so much more he gives back. And how does Krishna reciprocate with the conditioned souls? That's there in the Chatursloki, the Bhagavad Gita, right? What is the verse I'm thinking? Tesham satata yuktana. What is the previous verse? How does it start? Manchitta madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam katyantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. So he's talking about devotees, pure devotees. The verse previous to that, aham sarvasya prabho matta sarvam pravartite iti matva bhajanti mam bodha bhava samanita. Krishna is in the Chatursloki Gita, he is talking about how is the source of everything. And then a devotee who understands that, he is worshipping Krishna with all their hearts. Matchitta madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam katyantascha mam nityam tushyanti ramanti cha. So the devotee is worshipping the Lord with all their hearts. Now the next two verses talks about the reciprocation. Krishna's reciprocation to that. Tesham satati yuktanam bhajatam pratipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam enamam upyantite. Krishna says that one who is constantly engaged in my devotional service, I give them the intelligence by which they can come to me. And then he again follows up with another verse. Tesham evanukam partam aham agyana jamtamaha nashayami atma bhavastu jnana deepena bhashvata. So I, dwelling within the hearts, bestow my mercy by lighting, I'm just paraphrasing it, lighting their hearts with the lamp of knowledge and destroying their ignorance. So this is Krishna's reciprocation for us at our level, where Krishna actually enlightens, gives us the intelligence by which we can come to him. So now you can see how Krishna is reciprocating in all these different ways. It's perfect how Krishna reciprocates. Let's go to the next verse. Any points? I think you probably had a point. Okay. If you have any comments to add, please do add. Text 5. Anybody wants to read? Let's read the Sanskrit for this. It's a very beautiful Sanskrit. No, the Sanskrit. Maybe we can all read the Sanskrit together. Text 5. Arjuna uvacha vanchito ham maharaja harina bandhurupina ena me partam tejo deva vishmapanam mahat. Yes, you can read the translation.
Arjuna said, O King, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, who treated me exactly like an intimate friend, has left me alone. Thus, my astounding power, which astonished even the demigods, is no longer with me.
Yeah, we can read the purport. One of the amazing purports. So Arjuna is saying here, Krishna has left me and he is also lost all his powers. Of course, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, I am the ability in man. So this chapter is expansion of that statement. When Krishna says that I am the ability in a person. Yeah, let's read the purport.
In Bhagavad Gita 10.41, the Lord says, anyone specifically powerful and opulent in wealth, strength, beauty, knowledge, and all that is materially desirable is to be considered but a product of an insignificant portion of the complete whole of my energy. No.
Yeah, anybody know the verse? Yat vibhuti matsattvam srimat urjitam evava Tat tat eva gachatvam mama tejo amsa shambhava. So whatever glorious and opulent you see in this world is actually a spark of Krishna's splendor.
No one, therefore, can be independently powerful in any measure without being endowed by the Lord. When the Lord descends to the earth along with his eternal, ever-liberated associates, he not only displays the...
Divine.
If you scroll down just a bit.
Oh. Mataji, can you scroll down? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. He not only displays the divine energy possessed by himself, but also empowers his associate devotees with the required energy to execute his mission of incarnation. It is also stated in the Bhagavad Gita 4.5 that the Lord and his eternal associates descend to the earth many times, but the Lord remembers all the different roles of his incarnations, whereas the associates, by his supreme will, forget the power, will forget them.
So just wanted to say 4.5, of course, Bhagavad Gita. What is the context? And Prabhupada says here that, the Lord remembers everything, but the associates forget. Do you know the context of those verses? You can speak into the mic.
So this is the chapter of transcendental knowledge. So basically, he is trying to encourage that.
No, how does it start?
I think
Fourth chapter.
I think Arjuna asked first, Krishna said to the son Garbhivaswan and Vivaswan to Manu and Ikshaku.
Right.
Arjuna asks, how you took about so
Right.
How did you tell them?
Right. And then Krishna actually tells that verse, basically. I remember everything, Arjuna, but you don't. And then he then starts to describe his own glories. Ajo api vyatma so Ishvaro api san. And then he talks about the yada yada hi dharmasya and so on and so forth. So how he is unborn, actually. Krishna is different. So that's what Prabhupada is referring to here from that section of the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, please continue.
Similarly, the Lord takes away with him all his associates when he disappears from the earth. The power and energy which were bestowed upon Arjuna were required for fulfillment of the mission of the Lord. But when his mission was fulfilled, the emergency powers were withdrawn from Arjuna because the astounding powers of Arjuna, which were astonishing even to the denizens of heaven, were no longer required, and they were not meant for going back home, back to Godhead. If endowment of powers and withdrawal of powers by the Lord are possible even for a great devotee like Arjuna, or even the demigods in the heaven, then what to speak of the ordinary living beings who are but figs compared to such great souls? The lesson is, therefore, that no one should be puffed up for his powers borrowed from the Lord. The sane man should rather feel obliged to the Lord for such benefactions and must utilize such power for the service of the Lord. Such power can be withdrawn at any time by the Lord. So, the best use of such power and opulence is to engage them in the service of the Lord.
Yeah, such a beautiful lesson, from this purport, and I really like this statement. The lesson is therefore no one should be puffed up. So Prabhupada in another, I think, in the same chapter only, he says no one should be proud of their borrowed plumes. So Krishna, here you can see how Krishna empowered. The Lord empowered Arjuna to do amazing feats. In fact, as you go through the chapter, and I don't think we'll be able to cover, not be able to cover all the verses, but such amazing feats actually. Indra could not defeat him. Lord Shiva could not defeat Arjuna. And suddenly, everything is basically Arjuna loses everything because the Lord departs and then he takes everything away with him. And Arjuna gets defeated by a bunch of cowherd boys or thieves. Something like that, the previous chapter. And then Acharyas explain, of course, that this is, the Lord himself comes, to basically play that pastime. But Arjuna gets defeated by some normal people, actually. And that's because Krishna has taken those powers. So we can, take heart in this, that that if we want to sincerely serve the Lord, then and sincerely beg for the Lord's mercy, then the Lord can actually empower us and give us, and that's this. So how can we? And that is the movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is the movement actually, and Mahaprabhu has given the specific order. That especially, he said everybody, especially those who are born in India. What is the verse? You can tell the verse. Bharata Bhumite Janma Shartha Upakar. Right.
I think I missed it. Sorry. Bharat Bhumite hoile Manusha.
Can you find that verse, Prabhu, and then say that? So Mahaprabhu has given this order for all of us. So, and especially for people, who are, who have this knowledge of Krishna consciousness, and especially when people born in India, means what is the speciality of people born in India? Because they are. They are closer to the spiritual message. They are closer to Krishna consciousness. That is a speciality. Otherwise, what is the point of being born in India and being completely materialistic? There's no point. But whoever is in touch, yes, please go ahead, Prabhu. You can read that.
This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita Adirila 941. Bharat Bhumite Haila Manushya Janam Jar Janma Sarthak Kari Kar Parupkar. Translation is: one who has taken his birth as a human being in the land of India, Bharat Varsha, should make his life successful and work for the benefit of all other people.
Right. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. So we can actually, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's open order. Now the thing is, of course, Mahaprabhu said, I'm just one gardener. How many mangoes can I distribute? So there is an open order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which is coming through the parampara, through Srila Prabhupada, and through all his disciples as well. Now, the thing is, are we willing to basically fulfill the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? And when we have that sincere desire to be part of this mission, then and follow the process of devotional service, then naturally the empowerment will come. The empowerment has to, when we follow in the parampara, the line of parampara, when we follow the instructions of the acharyas, the empowerment has to come. There's no way, it will escape. The empowerment has to come. Now we have to also be careful when we feel, such empowerment coming. We should not feel this is my this is my strength, or this is my doing. I am doing it. We have to be very careful to give the credit back to Krishna, because empowerment comes from Krishna, and we have to be very careful not to become proud of the borrowed plumes, but we remain humble that Krishna, that you are actually the ability, and you are giving this ability for this service. I'm happy to be an instrument for you in this service. So that is it's a pretty amazing verse. Just summarizing or adding on to what Srila Prabhupada has said here. So that humility, the humility is very important to understand who is actually proprietor, who is the actual doer. Actually, Krishna is Sarva Karana Karanam. Krishna is the ultimate doer. All I can do is but be an instrument. Right? If a painter is actually painting with a paintbrush, and then he draws a beautiful painting, the paintbrush thinks, oh, I have done such a great artwork. That's really foolish. Right? That's really foolish. And in fact, that's what Krishna also says in the Bhagavad Gita, 3:27. He says, Prakritiye kriyamanani gune karmani sarvashaha ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. In fact, Krishna says, ahankara vimudatma, one who is bewildered by false ego, thinks himself to be the doer of all that. Yes, I accomplished this. Yes, I did this. When Krishna says such a person is called as vimuda, not just muda. Excuse me. So it's called as vimuda. So we have to be very careful. We have to be very careful to actually understand that Krishna is the ultimate doer. All I can become is an instrument. And all the credit goes to Krishna. That's a safe position to be in. And that's why Prabhupada is talking about here is the Yukta Vairagya principle, that all my abilities, all my power, opulences that I have, I'm just a caretaker, I'm not the proprietor. I'm just a caretaker, and I engage everything in the service of Krishna. So that is the principle of Yukta Vairagya. And then when we are in that service mood, then actually we'll remain unaffected when in the mood of service. And that's why we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So that the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, generally the mood of this world is it service mood? What is the mood of the master? Yeah, the mood of the world is boss on a boss. Everybody wants to become a boss. But of course, when I say boss on a boss, of course, people also take managerial positions in as a service. But it has to be done in the mood of service. That's why they have this term, right? Servant leadership. Servant leadership. Even though you're the position of a leader, but you're a servant. You're there to serve. So we have to cultivate this mood of service. And such a gift, actually. If you have the mood of service, yes, one is so fortunate. Because that mood of service, mood of being the servant of the servant of the servant, it protects us from so many allurements of this world. In fact, one of the Prabhupada says, the last snare of Maya is what? In the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, he writes in the purport, the last snare of Maya? He says, the last snare of Maya is to think that one is God. There is the last snare of Maya. So we have to be very careful, not to fall a trap. And that's why we chant Hare Krishna. And that's what the Kurma Brahman also, not Kurma Brahman, the leper, Vasudev the leper. So Vasudev leper actually, he is infected with leprosy, and then, he is suffering a lot. And then he meets Mahaprabhu, and then Mahaprabhu embraces him because he's so happy seeing his devotee, and then he embraces him. And then everything vanishes. All his disease goes away, everything vanishes. And then he gets a very beautiful body. He's just, what do you call that? He's just glowing. He gets such a beautiful body. And then at that time, Vasudev, he says, oh, my dear Lord, all these times I was suffering from, this disease, and it actually kept me humble. And, so it kept me humble. But now, you removed all these diseases. Now I have this beautiful body, I'm now afraid that I'll become proud. So then Mahaprabhu replies, no, you continue chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and also doing, Vaishnava Seva, then that will protect you from pride. So that is why we have to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, completely taking shelter of the Lord. Because what does the Hare Krishna Mahamantra do? It inspires us in the mode of service. Otherwise, our ego, it's ready to take credit for everything. Not only the thing we do. Krishna says, you're a fool if you take credit for what you do. But in today's world, people are ready to take credit for what they have not done also. That is the direction the world is going, actually. And that's, of course, that's dishonesty. That is Kali Yuga. But we cannot even take credit for what we have, accomplished. Because Krishna says that's very foolish to think that. Because Krishna, in the 18th chapter, he says there are 5 factors for any successful action to be accomplished. And one of the main factor is Daiva. The influence of the Supreme, or the grace, or the mercy of the Supreme Lord. So how can we just take all the credit? It's just completely foolish, actually. And Krishna says, one is the desire, the intention that comes from us, but then the instruments, the place, the effort, everything is actually given to us by the material nature. How can we just take credit for everything? So, and ultimately Krishna's will prevails. So, best to actually, just, and of course Krishna, in the 13th chapter, what he says, the process of knowledge, the first item he says is amanitvam, humility. Well, wait, what? I thought, maybe swadhyaya, reading, systems of knowledge. Why is Krishna saying humility or a process of knowledge? Because you need humility to understand. We need humility to understand knowledge. That's a prerequisite to understand knowledge. I mean, if you take a jar and then you take the cup here and try to pour water into the cup, but the cup is above the jar, the water will not go into the cup. The cup has to come here, below the jar, to receive knowledge. So similar to receive water. So similarly, we also have to. That's why Krishna first he says amanitvam adambitvam, lack of pride and humility. The first two items in the process of knowledge is humility and knowledge. So we can, of course, dainya is extreme form of humility. I mean, I certainly cannot. I don't even understand what does it mean, dainya. But at least in our own little ways we can understand, yes, Krishna, I'm, many ways I'm helpless. I'm helpless against my own mind and senses. I need your mercy. There can be difficult projects, there can be, difficult tasks, services, and so on and so forth. So Krishna, you have to help me. At least, at my level, I can pray like that. I need you. That is a good first step. Because false ego means I don't need you. You can stay. That's what the materialistic world is. Krishna, you can be there, I will be here. I have my own program and agenda. And that is the program of the ego, the false ego. But at least the first step we can come to is, yes, Krishna, I need you. I need your favor. I need your grace. Otherwise, it's all becoming, overwhelming, just too much. So please, give me your grace. Please, give me a shelter, and please engage me in divine services. And that's the meaning of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Ultimately Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is, a prayer where we are saying, oh Krishna, I have been serving, the bad masters. They have no break. They give me no break. The mind and the senses. But now I want to engage in your service, because that is my eternal position. That is the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and the Maha Mantra helps us to refine our desires, purify our desires. So when we come in contact with Krishna, it purifies us. Krishna says, Srinvata Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hirdayantasto Hiya Bhadrani Vidunoti Surat Satam. So Krishna, very kindly purifies our heart, refines our desires, and brings us to the platform of service, unalloyed devotional service to the Supreme Lord. Anyway, those are some thoughts. There's much more in the chapter. I would highly urge, encourage you to read that chapter. It's such a beautiful chapter. We can also take some lessons in our own lives, how we can remember Krishna's mercy upon us. And, the Acharya's mercy upon us. Any thoughts or comments? I have to conclude here because I think there is the next part of the program, which is the youth. Yes, Prabhu, please.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for the wonderful class. It's such a nice explanation on these verses. So one point I liked, apart from whatever you discussed, right? So Prabhupada was saying that the astounding powers that Arjuna had, right? So they were no longer required to go back to Godhead. So they were required for a particular service, and after the service was executed, and the powers were withdrawn. So I was recently hearing from a senior devotee was saying that one should not even get attached to the instruments of service. One should be attached to the principle of service rather than being attached to the instruments of service.
The service itself.
Yeah,
but one should have that at service attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice point.
Yeah, and one should. Their service can be taken away after some time, so one may get frustrated. So one should always.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I was saying that two B's like feedback and Bhagavatam, these can be always there with us. Right. That's what is required for going back to Godhead.
Yeah, that's a nice point, Prabhu. Thank you. Two B's. Yeah, nobody can, take that away. Unless, one becomes physically, And that's, the day before yesterday, even chanting can be taken away in the sense, if we really fall, God forbid, but even that, but of course one can chant in the mind still. But Shubhalas Prabhu was sharing that Smaranam can never be taken away. Smaranam can never be taken away. Because if you're fully absorbed in Krishna, even physically, sometimes, physically it may or may not be possible, but Smaranam can never be taken away. In some situations it can happen like that. But yes, you're right. At our stage, those two things, the Bhagavatam and the feedback, they are within our control. They can never be taken away. Yes. Any other comments or reflections? Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, like how it was mentioned that we get good qualities are given to us by Krishna to serve the purpose, and they may be taken away. It made me feel like when you have some good qualities, you better take it as an indication that you want to make use of it to serve the world, to serve Krishna. Otherwise, you are wasting it.
Yes, very nice. Yeah, that's what the materialists do. They waste all the things given to them instead of engaging in the service of Krishna. Yes, Mataji. Please, go ahead. One final comment and then I'll hand it over to Rasheshwari Leela Mataji. She's waiting there.
Okay. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you for the very, it's a very well blended like spiritual plus practical class, some lot of points to like take home. And I just want to reiterate on something that Shubhavilas Prabhu was talking day before yesterday about even the work that we do is like servant leadership. It's definitely a seva to the world, like whether you're doing it inside temple, outside temple, with people who are spiritual minded, without, but that consciousness I think should always be like, okay, we are always doing our entire life 24/7 we are doing seva as long as we have it.
Right.
So that was something that I think you reiterated in this lecture. So thank you very much.
And for me personally, what really helps is the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. The whole devotional process is there is to help us to be in that mode of service. Okay, thank you all for your kind attention and for your wonderful discussion. Thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. And all glories to all of you. Anand in the key, Srila Prabhupada key. Now I'll hand it over to Rasheshwari Leela Mataji. Mataji, it's all yours. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much. That was such a enlivening class. Always look forward to hearing your classes. And I was just thinking that the last point that came up was so perfect. As usual, Krishna's plan is so perfect. The 2 B's is what we were talking about. So today, Soumya is going to be presenting on the best way of chanting. So this is actually again based on Gaurang Darshan Prabhu's Bhagavad Viveka book 2, and his knowledge is full of stories from Bhagavatam and lessons from Bhagavatam, and this particular chapter is related to chanting. So it is definitely in tune with what we just heard, and we'll like to request Soumya to present on that.
Hare Krishna. My name is Soumya Singh, and today I'll be presenting on Chapter 6 of the Bhagavad Viveka. What is the best way of chanting? First of all, what is japa? Japa is the sacred practice of chanting, and it often faces distractions that divert our attention from Lord Krishna's holy names. At times, thoughts of service to the Lord arise to us during our chanting. After all, while chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, we are begging Srimati Radharani and Lord Shri Krishna to give us an opportunity to serve them. Now I will discuss whether or not it is all right to dwell on the thoughts of service to the Lord during japa. While chanting, we are engaging multiple senses simultaneously. Our tongue chants the Lord's names, our hands count the beads, and our ears hear the mantra. Meanwhile, our mind is meant to concentrate on the mantra. However, frequently, all four of these senses fall prey to various diversions. Some common distractions are engaging in or listening to others' conversations, using one hand for operating electronic devices, while the other hand continues counting the beads, thinking of other work to be done during the day, or thinking about past arguments that happened with someone, and so on. These distractions are a consequence of an unfocused mind and is often due to a lack of concentration. Many times the mind's restlessness manifests in the body, and these distractions can be categorized in two ways, external and internal. External distractions are action-oriented on the level of the senses, such as the hands, ears, and tongue. Internal distractions are thought-oriented on the level of the mind. Emergencies or distractions. Many times, it may become necessary to interrupt our japa if there's an emergency situation, like someone met with an accident and you had to rush to the spot at once. Sometimes, we have to perform another important service during the prescribed japa time. For example, a temple pujari has to address the deities while everyone else is chanting in the temple hall. In such cases, one may have to chant before or after to attending to the service. The restless mind of a devotee often instigates him or her to barely keep the commitment of chanting 16 rounds, but not become fully absorbed in it, and instead do some multitasking to have a sense of accomplishment. The unsteady mind cannot discern between distractions and emergencies. One may believe actions of service during japa to be genuine, but for the above reasons, we better avoid combining or overlapping the two actions of service and other japa. With some determination, one may be able to sit at one place during japa while not doing anything else. But the next challenge to deal with is the mind. The mind often appears unbending. Consequently, several thoughts may arise during japa. The mind can get entangled in a whirlpool of thoughts, especially while chanting. For example, one may think about past arguments or the way that other people had acted. We may be displeased with someone or experience happiness when someone appreciates us. All these unpleasant and pleasant thoughts can lead one to dwell on them deeply while chanting. Sometimes service brings admiration from others. For example, people may appreciate our cooking or public speaking skills, but how often are we praised for our chanting? While there may be devotees who excel in chanting and receive appreciation for it, most times a devotee is recognized for one's service rather than chanting one's rounds. Therefore, we may believe that thoughts of service while chanting is perfectly acceptable, but for an average practitioner who is still refining their spiritual practice, the mind may still crave glorification or appreciation that comes from performing a service rather than chanting one's rounds. Lord Krishna's suggestion. Yes, it is difficult to control our mind from distracting thoughts during japa, but Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, text 35, that we need to keep on practicing, which is abhyasa, and cultivate from detachment, which is vairagya. For example, think of a mother who sits with her little child in her lap. If the innocent child becomes restless and starts moving out of the mother's lap to touch certain objects that may harm the child, what does the mother do? The mother lovingly pulls the child back into her lap and restrains the child's hands from touching things that are harmful. Sometimes, the child may even cry when the mother does so, but the mother would still somehow restrict the child with love and attention and divert the attention of the child's mind to something positive and useful. Our mind is also like that innocent and restless child, often wants to explore new things that may not be useful or even harmful. But like the loving mother, we need to pull our mind back from unnecessary thoughts that distract us from our chanting. We need to divert the mind towards the most positive and auspicious goal of attaining Krishna Prema, which is the love of Krishna, by chanting Krishna Nama, which is the name of Krishna. Thank you for listening to my presentation. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Soumya. That was excellent. So very well practiced and presented. I would like to open up for reflections or questions, thoughts.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for that presentation. It was very practical. I like the point about the abhyas practice and Vairagya detachment. I remember Srila Prabhupada said many times we detach from something, we have to attach to something else. And you gave that very nice example of the small child. And probably we've all seen it. The child, and maybe is teething or something, and put everything in their mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And then the mother will take it away and gives them like soft teething toys. And then the baby's pacified. But if you have nothing, I'm very much disturbed. So I like that practical example. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, thank you for the presentation. I would like to, I have a question about service. If you have certain goals to meet, in service we have goal-based service, so the mind can be distracting, how would we meet these goals while chanting? So what do we do if the mind keeps on bringing those thoughts?
So we have to, with practice, you can divert your mind from other services while just doing japa. So you can avoid combining those activities and doing service and not chanting while doing the service.
Okay, thank you.
That's a very practical problem, Prabhu. I guess goals are important, and goal-driven services, we have to also understand we should not fall into the passionate aspect of it. Otherwise, it's tinged with passion. But we need passion to have the drive. So, it's a constant battle. But the process itself is so purifying. So we should simply just continue to chant. That is what my experience is.
Can I just add one point?
Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you for your wonderful answer. Just wanted to add one point to your point that we can actually, change the target for the goals into prayers. And, we can also express our, dependence and helplessness to Krishna, saying that, Krishna, you have to, help and give your mercy and empowerment so that we can be able to meet our goals. So it can be transformed into a prayer. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Such a wonderful presentation. And I also like the point everybody's mentioning about the practical example of the little child going away from the lap of the mother. It was so nice that you brought up so many points when, while chanting, we are doing multitasking. I was listening one lecture, I forgot who was that, and they said, Prabhu was saying that when we become devotees, we actually become left-handed. And it was so funny. I think, it was Gaurang Prabhu. I'm not sure. And that is like, it is so true. And I, sometimes I find myself doing that. But all the points that you brought up, how we bring up our consciousness back to the holy name and all the practical applications of it. And how Prabhu said that, we have a big goal and it keeps coming back because that's transcendental anxiety we have, but that's why we pray, and our chanting is a prayer. So that was also a very good point. I remember how Vaisheshika Prabhu told that some of the devotees, they would put a stack of books and they would chant because they have a goal to distribute the books. And one time he also said, when our consciousness, keep all the stack of books in front of your refrigerator. When it's all distributed, then only you open your refrigerator. So, it's such a nice, all the points are very nice. Thank you so much for, wonderfully collecting them together and presenting. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Once. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for your presentation. It's very well, like Mataji said, it was very well designed and as well, very practical as well. I just wanted to know from your experience, what's the best way, like, is there a best time to chant the mantra? Is there a best, how do we like keep, like we all have a lot of other like responsibilities, unfortunately. Like you said, there could be distractions, they're not emergencies. But how do you still, in your experience, what do you do to actually make sure that you're focusing always on the mantra? Because after one round, I'm like, okay, I need to do something, and then I come back and I again sit down and I try to chant. So what do we do? How do you address that?
One way to do it, you could chant all your rounds before doing any services, or you could chant all your rounds after doing a services when your mind is free of thoughts. Mm-hmm.
Thank you for the presentation. I liked how it had so many nice real examples that made it very interesting. So following up on the earlier question, so when you're doing japa, if some lot of random thoughts come to your mind, how do you bring your mind back to focus? Do you have any advice?
You focus on the mantra instead of other thoughts. So if you think of other thoughts, then you can remember that every time you'll start like practicing more. So once you practice more, then it'll be easier to divert your mind back to the mantra.
Okay, thank you.
I can't see, but do we have more comments or reflections or questions? Thank you. That was wonderful, Soumya. I think I can't see the audience, but I can see you. So I really appreciate all the effort that you've put, and it shows all the hard work that you put for the slides and also the practical aspects. We hope that we can keep this in mind, especially in this month of Kartik. And also want to mention that Soumya is very enthusiastic in the class. I've noticed that she's very eager. Last time also when we had this round of presentations, she was the first one to prepare. So very grateful for your enthusiasm, Soumya, and look forward to the continued exchanges in class and wonderful learning that we have together.
Hare Krishna.
I'll hand over to the next person. I think we have Guru Puja now. So if you can all arrange the mats, I'll hand over.
Hare Krishna, everybody. So we'll sing the Guru Puja now. You can repeat as we sing. Yeah. Nama Shreshtam Manumapi Sachiputram Atra Swarupam Shri Rupam Tasyagrajam Urupurim Maturim Goshtavatim Radha Kundam Girivaram Maho Radhika Madhavasham Prapto Yasya Pritita Kripaya Shri Gurum Tam Natosmi. He Guru Jnanada Dina Bandho Swananda Data Gurunaika Sindho Vrindavana Sina Hitavatara Prasida Radha Pranaya Prachara. He Dina Bandhu Gurunaika Sindhu Guru Prasadam Mai Manda Mudhe Laksha Parade Bahu Papa Gadhe Tat Pada Padme Stumachishtra Krishne Naivo Payantyapichitam Kavayastavesha Brahma Yushapi Kritam Riddha Muda Smaranta Yontar Bahistanubritam Ashubhan Vidunvan Acharya Chaitya Vapusha Swagatim Vyanakti. I bow down to the beautiful lotus feet of my spiritual master, by whose causeless mercy I have obtained the supreme holy name, the divine mantra, the service of the son of Sachimata, the association of Srila Swarup Damodar, Rupa Goswami, and his older brother Sanatan Goswami, the supreme abode of Mathura, the blissful abode of Vrindavan, the divine Radha Kund and Govardhan Hill, and the desire within my heart for the loving service of Sri Radhika and Madhava in Vrindavan. O spiritual master, O giver of divine wisdom, O friend of the fallen, you are the giver of your own bliss, and you are the only ocean of mercy. Although dwelling in Vrindavana, you have descended for the welfare of fallen souls like myself, and you are preaching the divine love of Radha for Krishna. Please be kind upon me. O friend of the lowly, O Gurudev, you are the only ocean of mercy. I am a dull fool and have committed hundreds of thousands of offenses. I have fallen into a dense myriad of sins. Therefore, grace me with your mercy, so that my mind may be fixed on your lotus feet and on Sri Krishna. O my Lord, transcendental poets and experts in spiritual science could not fully express their indebtedness to you, even if they were endowed with the prolonged lifetime of Brahma. For you appear in two features, externally as the Acharya and internally as the Supersoul, to deliver the embodied living being by directing him how to come to you. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. Our only wish is to have our consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens our darkened eyes and fills our hearts with transcendental knowledge. He is our Lord birth after birth. From him, ecstatic prema emanates. By him, ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, and the Lord and master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma Vandamu Isavadana Mate Vandamu Isavadana Mate Jahara Prasade Vai E Bhavatoriya Jai Krishna prapti hoy jaha hoy te. Krishna prapti hoy jaha hoy te. Guru mukha padma vakya chitete koriya kya. Guru mukha padma vakya chitete koriya kya. Harana kori ho mane asha. Harana kori ho mane asha. Shri Guru charane rati aise utama gati. Shri Guru charane rati aise utama gati. De prasade pure sarva asha. जे प्रसाद पूरे सर्वा आशा. सुदान दिलो जे जन्मे जन्म प्रभु से. सुदान दिलो जे जन्मे जन्म प्रभु से. ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित. दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित. प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ होते अविद्या विनाश जाते. प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ होते अविद्या विनाश जाते. वेदेगा जहर चरितो. वेदेगा जहर चरितो. श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु अधम जनार बंधु. श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु अधम जनार बंधु. लोकना लोकेरा दीवाना. लोकना लोकेरा दीवाना. महाप्रभु कर दया देह मोरे पादा छाया. महाप्रभु कर दया देह मोरे पादा छाया. Tribhuvana. Jai Shri Tribhuvana. Srila Prabhupada Patita Pavana. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatadine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Shri Radhe. Jaya Mahaprabhu, Jaya Mahaprabhu, Jaya Mahaprabhu, Srimad Mahaprabhu. Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha, Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha, Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha, Jaya Narahari. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan ki वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की गंगा माँ यमुना माई की भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की समवेद भक्त वृंद की निताय गौर प्रेमानंदी. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to Shishi, Guru and Gauranga.
Yes, of course. Oh, no. You play it. Maybe.
No. No
Haribol.
Namamishwaram Sachidanandarupam Rasatkundalam Gokule Vrajamanam.
Idam deva moksham nam javadimba Adanyam vineham vare
Shadapiha Param deva moksham nam javadimba
Idam deva purnata gopalamala Sadami manasya virastam kimanye
Idam deva purnata gopalamala
Idam te mukham bojam yantanile Idam kundalai sigara taisa gokyam
Idam te mukham bojam yantanile
Mohostyam vedam me manasadhanam me Anasya virasam mayam lakshalame Namo Deva Damodarananta Vishnu Sita Prabhu Dukkara Lakshmana
Namo Kshetra Home Sri Damodare
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Radha Damodar Radha Jaya Radha श्री राधा दामोदर भगवान की श्री राधा मदन मोहन की जय, श्रीमान महाप्रभु की जय, श्री लक्ष्मी नरसिम्हा भगवान की जय, तत्व की जय, गुरु परंपरा की जय, सदगोस्वामी की जय, शिला प्रभुपाद की जय, दाई गौर ब्रह्मंडे हरि हरि बोल।
Shari Hare